When it comes to your health, quality isn't negotiable. That's why I've trusted my supplement dispensary to Fullscript, because every one of their 15,000 supplements is vetted, verified, and held to the highest standards. And now, for 3 days only, every single one of those high-quality supplements is on sale. May 18th through 20th, 3 days only, get 10% off and free shipping on the entire Fullscript inventory. It's the Fullscript Signature Sale happening May 18th through May 20th. Just go to dearhoffmanstore.com, stock up on the supplements I recommend at prices that make it even easier to stay consistent with your wellness routine. We're talking trusted brands, professional-grade formulas, everything in the catalog, no exceptions. You'll find innovative wellness products, too, all chosen for their quality and reliability. Don't leave your health to chance by buying from third-party sellers. Shop my Fullscript online dispensary, where quality always comes first. The Fullscript Signature Sale, May 18th through 20th at dearhoffmanstore.com. That's dearhoffmanstore.com. You know that feeling when you wake up tired, even after a full night's sleep, when you push through your day running on empty, wondering where your energy went? Here's something most people don't know, that fatigue may actually be happening inside your cells. That's why I've been using Anti-Factor Lipids powder from Nutritional Therapeutics for years. I don't go a day without it. It's based on over 20 years of research and a patented process called membrane lipid replacement, which actually repairs the damaged components of your cell membranes, restoring your cell's ability to produce energy the way they did when you were younger. Clinical studies show Anti-Factor can reduce fatigue by up to 40%. Just 1 or 2 scoops a day. Mix it in a smoothie like I do, sprinkle it on food, and you're giving your body the science of youthful energy. Anti-Factor Lipids powder comes in 2 convenient sizes. For more information and to order, just call 800-982-9158, 800-982-9158, or go to antifactor.com. That's antifactor.com for Anti-Factor Lipids powder. Welcome to today's Intelligent Medicine Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ronald Hoffman. It's our weekly Q&A with Leyla. That means you can send questions to questions@drhoffman.net and get an answer, hopefully, to steer you straight on an issue related to health and nutrition, lifestyle. We cover all those under the rubric of intelligent medicine. With me today, of course, is Leyla Newton. Leyla is our resident nutritionist. And together, we endeavor to field questions in our weekly Q&A with Leyla format. So, how you doing, Leyla?
Okay, Dr. Hoffman. How are you?
But, I've kind of gotten a little slapped around by the weather here because I had a recent sojourn in, where it was, pretty much dialed in temperatures. 80 in the daytime, 78 degrees at night. And now we're experiencing a bit of a cold, wet wave here in New York. It's kind of gloomy.
And very April showers right now.
Yeah.
Days and days of rain.
Well, you know what they say.
Yeah.
April showers bring
May flowers.
There you go.
I was going to say May allergies for many people, but May flowers.
That too, for sure. So, all right. So before we get to questions, let's focus in a little bit. You actually got a laudatory comment from one of your admirers.
From Danny. Leyla, today's podcast on the rainbow diet was an eye-opener.
Mm-hmm.
I podcasted recently about the rainbow diet because I'd written about it. Eat the rainbow.
It's not what you think. It's
not what you think. Right. I was even quoting Dr. Deanna Minnick, who I'm a huge fan of, and I've seen her at IHS and everything. And we all talk about eating the rainbow as nutritionists and get at least your 5 colors a day, not just your 5 servings of vegetables a day. But then lately, with everything...
Which is signature for polyphenols and beneficial compounds.
Beneficial compounds, antioxidants, getting all your micronutrients, your vitamins, your minerals, all that good stuff. Cancer prevention, everything. Volume food,
good for you. You can't boil down into a capsule.
No, you cannot.
You can't.
You absolutely cannot. You have to eat your food.
The fruit and veggie capsules, it's kind of a false promise.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the rabbit hole, and I don't want to call it a rabbit hole anymore. With all the different things that we have been coming upon, and even some of your podcasts, interviews with the doctor,
Georgia Eid.
And there was another psychiatrist, about the Chris Palmer. Was that
yes,
his name?
Christopher Palmer. Yeah.
Christopher Palmer. And of course, we all know David Perlmutter for forever and all of that. And I just started thinking about, why is it when we do an elimination diet, they're not animal foods necessarily? Why are the most problematic foods that we're talking about carbohydrates? Mm-hmm. For example, FODMAPs are fermentable oligosaccharides, mm-hmm. polysaccharides, all of that.
And even beneficial things like onions and garlic.
Yes, and broccoli and cabbage and all of that stuff. Why are they the problematic foods? It's the carbohydrates that are problematic. What is problematic in terms of weight gain? A high carb diet, albeit a junkier food diet, refined carbohydrate, sugar, all that kind of thing. But even in something like specific carbohydrate diet for inflammatory bowel disease, what we're getting rid of are many of the carbohydrates. The grains are all gone, for mm-hmm. example, mm-hmm. and many even starchy vegetables like potatoes, chickpeas. It's that, and we're coming back to a basic premise of, contrary to what some patients come in and say, oh, I can't digest red meat, it's hard to digest. No, it's the easiest thing you'll digest, apparently.
For many people,
And you know what? If you're suffering from constipation, raw broccoli and apples and cabbage, they may not be your friends.
Right.
Why are we adding more cars onto the freeway? Adding more fiber, more traffic, more blood,
Right.
So it got me thinking about all of this.
And an extreme version of that is Dr. Gundry, who I interviewed a while back, but his credibility is a little bit in question because he has a very fastidious diet that eliminates many fruits and vegetables.
And really limits protein, which I'm worried about.
Unnecessarily, I think. But for some people, there are sensitivities to the oxalates, to the lectins.
Yes, and that was another thing I was going to bring up, the oxalates.
Right.
With that person you interviewed, I forgot her name, but I went on to her website and said, look, pain syndromes were caused by oxalates, not just kidney stones. So all of these, we're always pointing to a carbohydrate category food that is a problem that we must eliminate. And that's why I kind of went down this rabbit hole of, wow, maybe we shouldn't be eating the rainbow.
Sally Norton.
Right, Sally Norton. Thank you very much.
Toxic superfoods, how oxalate overload is making you sick. And again, I don't believe that any of those paradigms is a one-note Charlie kind of paradigm, or panacea.
Yeah.
But these are all, when we individualize diets, and we're all about PN, personalized nutrition.
Yes.
We want to look at some of these factors, particularly when people are suffering health problems. People who are going along and they're fine.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't need to obsess over every detail of diet.
No.
But people who have medical conditions, we have to look out for that.
Exactly. And really intractable ones, too. Because then the whole premise is brought up about, well, plants, they can't run like animals can run away from a predator. Plants can, but they can produce something to make you sick.
Yep.
And it may be that oxalate. It may be that lectin. It may be whatever to get it to propagate its own species, meaning not letting your digestive system be able to digest
to eat them up,
and therefore causing you a problem as a result.
Yeah.
So I just was thinking about all of this.
I think that's a great perspective to open up as a nutritionist, because otherwise you could just be sort of like a paint by numbers nutritionist.
Exactly. I can't just sit here and say eat the rainbow for 100% of everybody.
Right.
Right. We can't do that.
One size fits all. No.
Right. And that's it.
Great. Okay. So I think that, and then by the way, you don't get on social media a lot, and I
not at all
commend you for it, because I think it's a recipe for sanity.
Think it's toxic.
But I do.
You do. I know.
I take one for the team, and I do go on social media, and I see that your columns resonate, and particularly that one on the rainbow diet, because it's kind of counterintuitive a little bit. And it opens up a little bit of a different perspective. So people appreciated that. Anyway, just before we get to questions, just want to mention, I every week I spend, I write my stuff and I submit it on Sunday or Monday for the week. And then it's done. It's like, great, it's done. And I have a breather of about a day. And then I have to start thinking of what's next.
Exactly.
And it's like, what am I going to do? I rack my brains. And sometimes while I'm swimming or running, an idea occurs to me. And I thought, here's a theme. breakthrough treatments that we don't really need.
Yeah.
And there's so many of these, quote, innovations that we are, look, there's no question that medicine is profit driven and innovations can can turn an innovator into a billionaire with an idea. And so there's some ideas that are great and some ideas that maybe a little over the top and unnecessary. So I'm looking at some of those in a series. It's a 2-part series so far. I may go to 3 parts because, I need, I thought of so many. One of them is a new $16,000 postpartum depression drug.
$16,000? No.
No, so postpartum depression is a big deal because
it is.
Women are visible, but more so they ignore their children and they can even harm their children.
Yes.
It has actually become a defense for infanticide, for killing your child. So it's a really big deal. But is this drug the answer? It's a powerful drug that has to be infused. It will cost $15,900 for a 14-day course.
Wow.
It has only shown modest efficacy in clinical trials that were used to obtain FDA approval. The studies were criticized because in comparing it to placebo, because they have to run like, IV, basically saline into somebody's arm or colored water to suggest that there's something in there. There's about a 75% placebo effect. It's like, I got a treatment and I feel better.
So is that.
Its side effects include drowsiness and dizziness, which may preclude driving. And, oh, by the way, when you take it, you can't breastfeed, which is not a great way of bonding with your infant. That's actually good for the mother, not just for the child.
Absolutely.
It's bad for the child when the child can't get a good start with human breast milk.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, let's provide resources for moms. I mean, a lot of moms give birth in circumstances that are really oppressive.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, there is a relationship between vitamin D and the incidence of postpartum symptoms. I think it has to do with omega-3 fatty acids. So that's good for the baby, good for the mom, good for the brain. And let's check women's thyroids because very often the thyroid is off kilter after delivery. We've got the plaque-busting Alzheimer's drugs. You can read about them in this week's column. One of them is called lecanemab.
Sounds like it blows up plaque.
It says around 3 in 10 people taking lecanemab in clinical trials develop a condition known as amyloid-related imaging abnormalities, which can cause brain swelling or hemorrhaging.
Oh.
So in addition to the cost of the drug, which is $26,500, you got to get frequent MRIs.
Yeah.
With gadolinium, probably, which is no joke.
Right.
And then there's questions as to their efficacy.
You have to take out a HELOC on your house to do any
because they don't. It'd be one thing if they cured Alzheimer's. Let's say a big hooray for an eventual cure of Alzheimer's. But Alzheimer's is complicated. It's going to be like cancer. It's going to be a lot of different factors have to be factored in, and maybe medication will be part of all of the above treatment. But we have lifestyle measures. We have ketogenic diet. We have certain supplements that are good for the brain, DHA. Let's focus at least a fraction of our efforts on that instead of expensive drugs that are harmful. I got another one, quite a few that you can look at when I do my articles. Another one is, so there's this company that has developed a treatment that is a lifetime fix for high cholesterol. It's a knockout treatment. It's a gene-modifying treatment that will knock out your cholesterol production for your entire lifetime.
It's a CRISPR treatment?
Yes. Yes. CRISPR
that's frightening.
Gene editing.
Gene editing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it is it's not a germline treatment. In other words, you're not going to probably pass it along to your children. It's just what's called a somatic treatment. It fixes you. But so far, the cost of, there is one CRISPR treatment that has been approved by the FDA. It's for sickle cell.
Wow.
But it costs $2.2 million per treatment.
Wow.
So, but you could say, well, over a lifetime, you might spend nearly that much on cholesterol-lowering drugs. And they say it's only for people with exceptionally high cholesterol, like, the people with, familial hyperlipidemia.
Right. Dying in their 40s.
Which they say is 1 in 200. But the problem is once those things are employed, there will be what's called diagnostic creep, where they'll say, hey, you want to take the shot? I mean, hey, there's a profit motive here. And, why take pills for the rest of your life? We'll just give you one shot once. No muss, no fuss, your cholesterol will be fixed.
Just like semaglutide for your weight loss and your diabetes. Now it's a shot for cholesterol.
Yeah. So anyway, do we need these things? These are innovations that maybe are a bridge too far.
Absolutely.
Now, I said in the article, I wouldn't take this treatment, but if there were a gene editing treatment that could make me dance like Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly, I would take that.
You'd be singing in the rain today.
I would take that. I just a marvelous, light dancing.
Yeah.
Okay. But, so far they haven't developed that.
Right.
Anyway, so I think it's an interesting theme to visit.
Mm-hmm.
Also talk about cancer drugs, which extend life for mere couple of months that are very expensive with a whole array of side effects.
Yeah.
They have gained approval because the cancer community is very much demanding options.
Yeah.
And hey, when faced with a cancer that's potentially fatal, people want to go for it. They don't quite understand that this is kind of like, buying a lottery ticket, in effect.
Right. And not just that, the treatment would make the rest of their lives, even if they're going to live
quality of life,
an additional 6 to 8 weeks, horrible.
Quality of life.
They'll be sick.
Quality of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, one thing I got to say is that at least we're beginning to see emerging some therapies that have plausibility, that maybe when combined, we can make cancer a chronic disease.
Yeah.
And, we can very individualize these treatments, but the cost is enormous of these drugs.
Mm-hmm.
They cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for a course of treatment.
Right.
They're monoclonal antibodies. They're, even CRISPR is being invoked for cancer. There's, various types of blockers and.
I'm all for innovation, but we got to look at it could be very much a double-edged sword and not just price-wise, because there are foundations and things that can help you pay for stuff, but, how long can you do that for, and what would be the long-term effects? Because they're so new.
Yeah.
How do we know?
We're in a moment of great hope and expectation, but also experimentation, and some of these therapies will eventually be left by the wayside because they're not cost-effective, and they're not, they don't offer significant improvements. Anyway, so for details, go to drhoffman.com. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to our newsletter, because Leyla and I toil to come up with topics that are of interest to you, and we enjoy it. I really find that, try to gauge, at this point in my life, like, what are enjoyable times for me? And they're not always like going to a great movie or play, like the kinds of things we think of. There's sometimes satisfying things that are work-related, like
it's gratifying work.
Sitting, researching and writing an article and communicating something important is really a joy to me.
Yes. Yeah. Agree. And the podcast especially.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll fulfill that today. So without further ado, let's get to questions. Questions come to questions@drhoffman.net. Please feel free to send questions and or comments. You can comment on an article or comment on something that we've said, or, perhaps you've undertaken a recommendation that we've made and you want to report back on its efficacy, or maybe you've got an alternative to something we've said. It's like, I've people who discovered that by bathing their feet in balsamic vinegar, that it reverses their hair graying or something like that. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm just throwing it out there.
You just heard it.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh my gosh. All right, we've got an email
here. Or it
here.
might make you have dark hair on your feet.
Oh, okay. Balsamic, huh? All right.
It's got to be balsamic.
Got to be balsamic. Dark or white balsamic. Anyway, never mind.
Are you ready to experience the future of digestive wellness with Dr. Ohhira's new and revolutionary postbiotic fermented food concentrate? Capsule-free and in individual sachet packets that harness the power of 5 years of fermentation and over 500 concentrated bioactive postbiotics. Dr. Ohhira's postbiotic fermented food concentrate is a nutrient-dense paste designed to supercharge your digestive health, aid in nutrient absorption, and support whole body immune wellness. Each sachet packet delivers a potent blend of fermented paste and prebiotics which serve as fuel for your body's own unique gut microbiome. This concentrate supports your entire digestive tract, does not need refrigeration, non-GMO, dairy, and gluten-free. Dr. Ohhira's postbiotic fermented food concentrate. It is the ultimate embodiment of traditional Japanese fermented craftsmanship, designed for those who seek the highest concentration of nature's restorative power in every serving. Ask your natural products retailer for it today or online at essentialformulas.com.
We've got an email from Peter. The news is now catching up, Dr. Hoffman, on the content of one of your 2022 podcasts, how a cheap generic drug became a darling of longevity enthusiasts.
And that is from the New York Times, or is it from the
This is from the Washington Post.
Washington Post, okay.
Yes.
So what I always say about those newspapers is that you can set your clock behind about 2 years, because whatever we're talking about, it will appear 2 years later or 5 years later.
Right. Yeah. This is about somebody, to keep himself healthy into his 8th decade, David Sandler recently decided to go beyond his regular workouts and try something experimental, taking rapamycin, an unproven but increasingly popular drug to promote longevity. So doctors citing animal studies contend that rapamycin could be a game changer in the quest to fend off age-related diseases. The drug is going mainstream as an anti-aging treatment, even though rapamycin's regulatory approval is for treating transplant patients.
Yeah, which is like, why would taking a drug that suppresses rejection of transplanted organs help you live longer?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Because it's an immunosuppressant.
Yeah,
it would be, but it's
okay.
not.
So it works on something called the mTOR pathway.
Yeah,
and the mTOR pathway is thought to be related to aging. And so by inhibiting the mTOR pathway, you may slow aging. Now, it works in like primitive organisms, in yeast. It works in like roundworms.
Yeah.
It has been shown to have some efficacy in mice.
Wow.
It has not been clinically demonstrated to improve longevity in humans because why? Humans live a long time. So we have to do a study over like 20, 30, 40, 50 years to see. Maybe studies like that are beginning to be ongoing. It would be, I guess, the question is if you start it at 80 and, you do a 10-year study and see who's left, maybe it's too late to start. Maybe you should start early. We don't know anything about it. We don't know the precise dose. A lot of biohackers are taking rapamycin. Some of my colleagues are taking rapamycin.
Wow.
Peter Attia, who's a big influencer, is taking rapamycin. And I'm not taking rapamycin because I'm kind of waiting for the news to come out about its efficacy or lack thereof, or potential side effects associated with it, because you block this pathway. I just read an interesting article that this pathway has to do with, to some extent, vascular function. And if you block this pathway, maybe it impedes vascular function, in which the blood flow. And I don't know, maybe it's a dose-related effect. Maybe at a low dose it doesn't do that, but I think there's a lot of unknowns about it. So I'm not on board with it, but there's a wonderful book by Ross Pelton, who's a frequent guest on my program, about rapamycin. You might check that out. It's a great primer on rapamycin. And, you pays your money and you takes your chances with rapamycin. You can get it. You can obtain it, and you can self-administer it in a pill. One of the problems is the bioavailability of it, because it has to be formulated in a way that is absorbed. So
it's not a black pepper thing.
Not a black pepper thing. Piperine doesn't.
Piperine,
it doesn't enhance its bioavailability, I don't think. it's got it, it has to pass through the digestive system and be absorbed past your stomach to get into your bloodstream and do its job.
And do all that. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's one of those things that looks promising. Mm-hmm. And, I think we're finally doing some legitimate research on aging itself, not just treating the diseases that make our lives
Baby boomers are demanding it.
Yep.
They don't want to get old and die. They want to live. And listen, even at IHS, there was a lot of talk about how we're all going to live to 120. That makes me exactly middle-aged.
You know the Who song? Talk about my generation.
Yes.
Hope I die before I get old.
Right.
Well, no, now that we're old, we don't want to die.
You don't want to die. Right. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Peter, thanks for that. Let's see here. We've got an email from Michael. Hi, Leyla and Dr. Hoffman. I'd appreciate your comments on studies indicating how and why eating vegetables first, then fats and proteins, and then carbohydrates to avoid glucose spikes. Also, will drinking a glass of water in which some apple cider vinegar, like a teaspoon, has been added, reduce glucose.
There is a thing. There is a
thing with vinegar, period. Not just putting your feet.
Right.
If you put vinegar in your salad and you're having this with your dinner, the vinegar may blunt a glucose response, which is great.
And I've actually seen a small study that suggested that it is helpful for evening out your blood sugar.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And Michael, it's true. Eating your fats and proteins at least first. It doesn't have to be the vegetables first, but the fats and proteins, by having that in your belly first, you blunt the absorption of the sugar and the carbohydrates.
Right.
From being absorbed more rapidly.
The strategy that I use...
It lowers its glucose load. It lowers the glycemic load of the carbohydrates in that meal.
The strategy that I use for dinner especially is I make a big salad, like a big honkin' salad.
Yep.
Because, frankly...
Because we're eating the rainbow.
Because we're eating the rainbow. But, frankly, it is the part of the meal that, once you have like a big, meal of like your delicious... protein and whatever you're having, you may want to say, I don't have room for salad. So I want the salad when I'm hungriest.
Yes.
And then I devour the salad, and I have also a clear palate to enjoy the flavors of the salad. And I put olive oil and vinegar on that.
Yeah.
And then I, like whatever, you make these very imaginative salads, whatever's available, like beets. And I'm a big fan of what's the
beets, lettuces.
What's the green that is the arugula?
Oh, arugula.
Yeah.
Right.
And beets, arugula, maybe some goat cheese and, some onion, throw some olives in there, throw some walnuts on it, cut apple slices in it. I feel a little like something a little
very,
sweet,
very nice.
Sweeten the salad.
Yeah.
Like a big honkin' salad. And then I don't devour as much food afterwards.
Right.
Because it creates a little satiety. Mm-hmm. And then, like last night I had, some chicken, had a big pot of spinach that like you get this big package of spinach, it boils down to nothing.
Right. It's true.
Yeah. It started as a big
you be
thing.
Careful that oxalate.
And it ended up like a fist size of
right. There's
spinach.
Like nothing left. Right.
So, and that was perfectly fine. That,
Yeah.
So didn't need like a big.
One of the things I like to do when sometimes, and there's always salad in my, it's like what you say. If there's a lack of butter and eggs, it's an emergency. But for me, it's also salad. I've got to have some variety of some kind of greens and cukes and celery and carrot and some kind of onion and some other kind of, that. But sometimes I just like to put out in a little kind of kind of nice bowl that I have of crudité. I will have their scallions.
Right.
I will have some chopped celery and carrots. I will chop up Persian cucumbers in there.
Okay.
Radishes.
Right.
Are a favorite one.
Wow.
And I will just crunch on these.
Yeah.
As dinner is ready or has to rest now because it just come out of the oven or whatever. And that's a treat.
It's funny. You said it was an emergency. I the other day, it was raining and I got back from a long walk and it was a nice walk. It actually wasn't raining. It was just kind of chilly and cloudy.
Yeah.
And I got back, I was like, oh, it's so great to be back and, like just relax and have dinner and turn on the news. And I go to open up the refrigerator. It was like, there's no salad. And it was like, oh, I just take off my clothes and, it was like, lounging clothes.
Right.
Walk around my socks. And I said, oh, I got to go out and buy some salads.
We got to get some salad.
I was so motivated that I went to buy the arugula.
Get the arugula, right?
Yeah. So,
arugula is so good.
7
nice
o'clock at
and
night.
peppery.
So,
yeah. So, Michael, yes, eat the main meal, so to speak, the fat. Eat the steak, eat the chicken, eat the fish, eat the vegetables, certainly with that. And, maybe eat the rice after that or the potato after that or something. You could do that if blood sugar is an issue or we're trying to lower the glycemic load.
You want to fix, if just another point about rice and potatoes is resistant starch.
Yes.
Is leftover,
and gluten-free.
Leftover rice, leftover potatoes. I really like to over-bake potatoes, bake more potatoes than I'm going to have.
Yes.
And then just sit around, and then I'll have for breakfast, I'll fry it up in some peanut oil or something.
Yes, make some home fries or something like that.
Because it is resistant starch, and that is a good way to go. Yep.
I like to make
and that blunts the glucose release, right?
I like to use small red potatoes. I will boil them, and then later I'll make potato salad.
Oh, there you go.
With them.
Yep.
But I won't make a mayonnaise-y thing. I'm not a huge fan of mayonnaise.
Right.
I will chop some scallions, some dill, scallion or red onion. Red onion may be a little more preferred. Some dill. I will, a little salt and pepper. I might throw another vegetable or something in there. Maybe a little celery, maybe not.
You ever thought of doing cooking classes to your house?
No, not at my.
That's not your thing.
That's not my thing.
I did that actually in medical school.
Oh, did you? See, you were ahead of your time.
That's one of the things that because I needed to earn money and I wasn't going to drive a cab or be like a bicycle delivery man. So I said, let me show people how to cook natural. And they had this thing called, I don't know, it was like this catalog where you could take courses with photographers and artists and things like that.
Learning Annex?
Learning Annex.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was way back when. And
I've gone to a few Learning Annex things.
So they would promote it and they would take a cut and you get a cut. And, and actually I had these people traipse up to my 5th floor walk up and to my really, crappy apartment. And I pretended like this was normal.
Yeah.
I'm a starving student. I'm going to show you how to make.
I'm going to show you how to cook.
And, the middle-aged ladies who came up there thought it was kind of charming that this young medical student was showing them how to, prepare healthy food.
Yeah.
So that I was
very, very good.
Early on.
There you go. And now so many other holistic doctors are trying to incorporate that into their practice, not just the office, but the kitchen, the lab. This is how you cook.
Yeah.
This is this is how you should eat.
Definitely more health professionals need to be exposed to that.
Right.
And I did that at the medical school. We did, cooking demonstrations and things like that for
very, very
doctors
good.
in training. Okay, so we are out of time for part 1.
Yeah.
Questions at drhoffman.net is a place to send questions. We're going to tackle more in part 2. Give us a preview of what we're going to tackle.
I'm considering taking urolithin A to prevent sarcopenia.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Wow. Okay, that's a wonky question. We'll attack that when we return. I'm Dr. Ronald Hoffman, today with Leyla Mutin, because it's our weekly Q&A with Leyla, and we'll be right back with part 2.